With Virgin Media, you can build up the entertainment and tear down the price. Switch to Virgin Media today and get superfast broadband and TV for just €49 a month for an awesome 12 months. The sale that stacks up. Now on. See virginmedia.ie and check out how our mobile sales stacks up too.
T's and C's apply. See virginmedia.ie. 12-month contract. Offer ends 27th of February 2019.
Hi, guys. Well, from Salt Lake City, Utah,
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
the podcast.
I'm Frank.
And I'm Dan.
And coming up on this, our 250th episode, we're going to talk about seminary.
We're going to talk about how the reason why Frank and I can both claim that we were ordained priests
Who went to cemetery.
who went to
seminary.
Seminary.
Not cemetery.
We can both
Not yet.
accurately claim that we attended seminary and were ordained priests. And we'll tell you why that works
How that
and how
yeah.
dumb that claim actually is.
Yeah. But it's real.
But it's true, and we'll be talking about it and blah, blah, blah.
And I was an elder in the LDS church.
That's true. You were an elder. I was never an elder. I was a priest.
Yeah. My dad's a high priest.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Fancy.
That's amazing.
That's some fancy stuff right there.
Well, all right.
We'll tell you. It's all very, very impressive.
Very impressive.
Speaking of people in churches and stuff, I'm going to talk about a bishop. But this isn't a Mormon bishop.
Yeah.
This is a Church of England bishop. Now, the C of E, part of the Anglican Communion, the beginning of the Anglican Communion, really, which is sort of related to the Anglicans here, the Episcopalians here, I guess, the Anglicans in Canada, and anyway,
Yeah, it's all one big happy family.
not really. No. And here's part of it. So here's the thing that happened there in England. The Bishop of Grantham, Nicholas Chamberlain.
Grantham?
Yes.
As in Lord Grantham?
As in the very same.
Oh!
That guy's bishop has come out as being gay. Now,
No.
he
What
said
will Lord Grantham do?
he said he is living with a man in a long-term relationship, though it does not involve sex.
I must see Maggie Smith's eyes roll at this.
Maggie Smith, the Dowager Countess,
The Dowager Countess.
would only be concerned if it somehow reflected badly on the family.
She would have a disapproving pursing of her lips, at least.
She'd snark. She'd have a snark.
She'd have a line.
She'd have
I want
something.
to hear that line.
Yeah, so apparently he was ordained bishop last year
Yeah.
by the Archbishop of Canterbury, Mr. Justin Welby,
Yeah.
who says that he knew that he was gay, but as long as he didn't have sex...
Flaunt it.
Because, frankly, if you see how these fellas dress, they all flaunt it. Whether they're actually gay or not, they all look pretty damn gay.
Oh, whatever.
In their dresses, in their big fancy dresses.
It's what you do.
It's what you do. Apparently, this is not going to run afoul of the technical bishop's handbook or whatever, because you can be gay as long as you're not sexual, as long as you don't do anything with that. The bishop's guidelines. Apparently, so the archbishop has said that his sexuality is irrelevant to his office, as long as ain't no fucking going on.
And he screwed around.
No,
Oh.
no, he's just come out as gay. But this is a big deal because there are plenty of...
I thought this was a scandal.
No. Well, it's enough of a scandal just because plenty of other parts of the Anglican Communion, notably the Anglican Communions of Africa, are wildly anti homosexual. And so they don't want anything to do with the gay stuff. So, like,
Only when you say it like that, though, Dan.
homosexual.
They don't mind it otherwise.
No, gay is fine, but as soon as you say homosexual, they just can't. They can't. They won't. So yeah, I mean, so there's an Episcopal bishop who came out as gay and is like gay, and like I think he might have a partner and everything, and they do it.
Oh,
so
boy.
like that part is good, and then you got the Nigerians who are like breaking off, and you have some American Episcopals who want to be part of the Nigerian communion and want to be part of that group because they don't want the gays either.
The great gay schism.
Yeah. Oh, I've heard of him.
He'll rip you asunder.
Ooh, just titillating. That should be a drag show or something. The Great Gay Schism or something. I'm not sure what that is.
That probably happens every gay or every drag show.
That's right.
There's some sort of schism happening.
Anyway, but the thing about the Church of England specifically is that they've sort of tried to stay neutral on the whole gay thing. They've tried to like avoid the problem.
This doesn't sound very neutral to me.
This isn't. So shots are fired on home turf.
Oh boy,
for this one. Anyway,
we'll people
see.
taking a stand.
We'll see what it all ends up meaning.
Oh my God, Dan.
Yeah,
just outrageous.
Just amazing.
Okay, how do I want to start? Mine are all sort of interrelated.
Ooh,
not related at all, actually. None of them have anything to do with each other, but they all have. There's something.
You're seeing
something here, Dan.
You're a conspiracy theorist. You're seeing connections everywhere you look.
Yes. Well, I'm going to start with the story of a woman down in Alabama. Who, I'm sorry. Alabama. Who went into... I have one in Georgia and I have one in Alabama. So
I see.
I got a little confused there for a minute. So she walks in to her local DMV.
That's the Department of Motor Vehicles, for those of you who don't know those letters.
And she's wearing a headscarf.
Okay.
And the woman taking the photo for her driver's license says, "I'm sorry, you have to take that off." And she says that she's wearing it for religious reasons.
Right.
And she's like, "Well, are you Muslim?" And she goes, "No, I'm Christian." And so to which she is told, "Only Muslim women have the right to cover their hair. Now take it off."
Wow. Nice. That's crazy talk.
So the woman the woman who was forced to take her headscarf off is Yvonne Allen of Tuskegee.
Oh.
And she so this the person at this office, the chief clerk at the office, Becky Freyer.
I know Becky. She's nice.
She's been defending the policy that she's stating here as the policy, right? That she's a Christian too, and she doesn't cover her hair.
Yeah.
So I don't know what this Christian is up to, covering her hair.
She clearly doesn't know what she's talking about, because I know lots of Christians that don't cover their hair, so obviously she's a liar.
Absolutely. And but however, according to the ACLU, this runs afoul of Alabama's own policies,
right,
regarding driver's licenses.
Wait a minute, you mean that satanic cult, the ACLU, is defending a Christian?
A very conservative Christian at that.
Yeah.
And because the state policy is that, quote, only acceptable head coverings in a driver's license are, quote, only acceptable due to religious beliefs or medical conditions.
Okay.
Nothing about Islam or Muslims here.
Right.
Nothing.
Right.
So funny.
Yeah, that is weird.
And I was kind of taken aback as well. I was like, well, what kind of Christian? I mean, because like surely if this was like some kind of like Anabaptist sort of descendant group, you know, like the German Baptists or whatever, they have the little cover on their bun.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
They'll put their hair in a bun and they have this like this little
cozy, little bun cozy.
Yeah, little bun cozy, yeah.
Bun warmer.
And surely they wouldn't be objecting to that.
Yeah,
right?
no, you wouldn't think so.
And I don't think that's what this was at all.
No, but you think about like the Mennonites, I think, and you think about like Amish, and a lot of those, the women cover their hair. They have some sort of.
Well, Mennonites would get behind the wheel of something. They would need a driver's license, but Amish wouldn't.
No, Amish don't need a driver's license, I guess.
But
Do
Mennonites
buggies require some sort of license? Do you have to have the B endorsement on your license to drive a buggy?
I don't know, maybe. But yeah, it's all very interesting. But it brought up the issue for me of, Christianity and head covering.
Yeah.
Which apparently it's a thing, like a big thing. Like there's a verse in the New Testament that talks about men don't cover your head during prayer. Because that's bad.
Okay.
But women, you better cover your hair, because otherwise it's as bad as being bald. Is what it said.
And that's in the New Testament.
That's in 1 Corinthians chapter 11 verses 4 and 6.
There you go. Well, that explains why I was always forced to take my hat off during a prayer in Mormonism.
Yeah.
I never really understood that. I felt like it felt cultural to me.
No, I think when you walk into a church as a man, you're supposed to take off your hat.
That's true.
But women, on the other hand, there's a tradition of, the Easter bonnet.
Yes.
And I know we've brought this up before. My ward, women would wear hats.
Right.
Not all of them, but there was a group that would actually wear an Easter hat.
Yeah, well, and down in the South, you get black ladies going to church. They're all wearing hats.
Oh, yeah. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
So
there you go. I don't know.
It's a thing. You don't necessarily associate headscarves with Christianity, but folks.
But there it is. Right there in black and white.
Mm-hmm.
In the Corinthians or whatever.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to talk about. Do you remember? It wasn't that long ago that Indiana passed their Religious Freedom Restoration Act.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, because their religious freedom was under assault.
It was in danger.
It was in danger.
Seriously.
And basically, this was a pretty dangerous law. It was one of those laws where all the Christians were like, yeah, but all the rest of us were like, wait, you don't see what's coming down the pike with this. Because it was basically like, unless the state can, basically the law said that unless the state can provide a really compelling reason in imposing any kind of burden on religious liberty, it's not allowed to.
Okay.
So like, I've been wondering when this was going to pop up again, and it has. Not in one of the ways that I was going to expect. I was expecting, Satanic Temple to utilize this for some fun or whatever. Mm-hmm. Turns out it's not fun the way that this has cropped up. An Indianapolis woman is invoking this Religious Freedom Restoration Act as a defense against felony child abuse charges. Against her 7-year-old son.
Oh, dear God.
Whom she beat pretty fucking mercilessly with a coat hanger. To the point where the way that this came to light is that his teacher in school just gave him a little pat on the back and he flinched.
Yeah.
And she raised his shirt to find horrible welts all over his body. Just like it. I mean, I've got a picture here and it looks like he's recovering from a whipping.
Oh my God.
It's like these terrible bruises. So they found something like 36. A doctor counted 36 bruises on this 7-year-old child on his back, arms, and legs, and face. I think
face.
Yeah, a little like on the side of his head.
Oh,
and so yeah, she's under arrest and being prosecuted for it. But she said, she's quoted the Bible.
Oh,
she said, "Parent who spares the rod spoils the child." And there's a biblical verse: "Do not withhold discipline from a child. If you strike him with a rod, he will not die. If you strike him with the rod, you will save his soul from Sheol." Which is, I don't know what Sheol is. Sheol. I'm not a biblical scholar, apparently. Anyway,
okay.
so the question becomes, does she get away with it?
Oh my God!
Here's the
they've
thing.
written the law that, I mean,
Yeah, she did not spare the rod. So there you go.
it is a pretty traditional Christian belief.
Yeah.
I mean, we've kind of, fortunately, as a society, moved away from corporal punishment.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Here's another thing. In Indiana, apparently, and I find this incredibly disturbing. In 2008, the Indiana Supreme Court ruled 3-1 to overturn the felony conviction of Sophia Willis, who used a belt or an electrical cord, depending on who you believe, her or her son, to beat her 11-year-old son. And apparently they were okay with that.
Oh, this woman's fine then.
She could just totally be okay.
She's totally fine. Then maybe they should establish some guidelines, you know, of acceptable rods.
Or they just need to change the state motto
No,
to beat your kids here.
move to Indiana.
Move to Indiana. Do what you want. Move.
And claim religious freedom.
Claim religious freedom. My religion allows me to beat up the lawmakers. What about that?
Yeah.
I belong to a religion
Well, find the verse.
that says, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
So
There you go.
okay. All
It's
right.
fine to beat your child.
Yeah, it is. So ISIS, Dan, the Islamic State.
ISIS. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I was hoping you were talking about the spy group that Archer works for.
No. No, ISIS now has they've named a new enemy number one.
Ooh, is it me?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's the Pope.
Pope.
The Pope
Wow.
is now its chief enemy
Why?
because, according to ISIS, he is a non-believer.
Oh.
And they condemn him for defending homosexuals.
What?
And they really dislike the fact that he has that he's seeking dialogue with moderate Islam,
Wow.
because such moderates are apostates.
Right.
Because the article specifically mentions one imam who described Christianity as a religion of love and peace. Oh, no, says ISIS. Not acceptable.
No.
That didn't get this man made public enemy number one, but it did get Pope Francis named as enemy number one. So apparently they are upset with, the Pope he insists that the war on terror is not a religious war. Right. He takes that
right.
line.
Okay.
Right? And he says religions don't want war. The others want war. ISIS insists that the war that it's waging is
A religious
war.
Of course.
And
it is.
So they're just like, this guy is like crazy,
Yeah.
So he needs to die.
I feel like if President Obama isn't their number one guy, he's doing something wrong. He needs to be their number one enemy because
he's the secret Muslim.
He's one of them.
He's one of them. He founded ISIS. Don't you remember that
Oh,
line?
yeah, that's right. Oh, why don't I keep this all straight? It's so hard to keep track of.
No, they love Obama. Obama's great.
He's their founding member. He and Hillary got together and founded the group.
Yeah.
And then,
okay, go guys, go.
Yeah, they
have fun.
They set him free on their own.
Oh, you wacky kids.
But this Pope character,
oh my God.
he has nothing but trouble.
Just the worst.
I don't trust him. I don't like him.
No.
Apparently he likes homosexual. Like, which Pope are they talking about? Because this Pope is still plenty anti-gay. Like, he may say nice things, but
He might be like, don't kill him.
Right, yeah.
You know, oh my God, he loves gays.
He loves the queers.
Because he doesn't want them eradicated.
Get him. Wow.
Yeah, so ISIS is crazy. That's what I'm gonna say.
Well,
They're a little nuts. They got a little screw loose.
Breaking news. You heard it here first, folks. ISIS is crazy. Oh, my gosh. Well, I'm going to move away from craziness to some more grounded, much more sensical, logical stuff.
Oh, really?
Elves.
Elves, you say? Okay.
Reykjavik, Iceland. Not quite Reykjavik, but in Iceland, there's been a problem. They were doing a highway thing. There was a rock slide, a landslide, and they needed to uncover the highway. So they did.
Yeah.
They just moved all that dirt and rock off of the highway.
Okay. Oh, thank God. Yeah.
In the process, though, things kept going wrong.
Oh, really?
Yeah, somebody got hurt. A couple of big machines broke down. Somebody fell in the mud. Literally, someone fell in the mud. What could be causing all of this?
Horrible accident.
What could be causing? Well, they figured it out.
Okay.
When they had moved all that dirt and rocks and stuff, they covered one of the elves' rocks.
Oh, no.
There is a strong belief in Iceland about elves, or the hidden people is what they call them.
Oh, okay.
Who live in rocks.
They live in rocks.
Very specific rocks.
That would hide you very well.
Yes. Yeah.
To live in a rock.
And so, like, much is done to care for the rocks of these elves, and much hay is made of when one of these rocks gets disturbed. If stuff goes wrong,
now
we all know why.
Is this a whole nation that's just decided to participate in some sort of like Santa Claus fantasy for the little kids? Like, or is this like people really believe this?
You know, I'm guessing it's
just think
it's a lot of both.
Something cute and charming about themselves.
When I was in Iceland, no one mentioned elves to me. I wanted to ask about it, but it felt like one of those things that like maybe you can't ask about, but maybe you can. Like, I didn't want them to feel embarrassed or whatever, but you do want to hear about it. But here's the thing.
I bet they get plenty of... It's not like asking about magic underwear.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, it's not. It's probably not. But yeah, they literally, like, this is not the first time something like this has happened. They literally have moved, like, the path of a highway where they were going to just clear a rock out of the way. They've literally, like, routed it around rocks.
Oh, yeah.
Just because, you know, that was an elf rock.
Are these elves related to any of the elves that I saw in downtown Salt Lake over the last few days?
The Comic-Con elves? Yes, it's those guys. They all come to Salt Lake Comic-Con. It's their favorite thing.
Well, see, that's when they need to build the roads.
Yeah. Well, the elves
get them
are
out
here.
of town, get them to Comic-Con, and then be like, oh, no.
Sorry, you came home and your home was gone.
Your rock's just over there now.
Yeah, we moved it. In 1971, elves reportedly disrupted construction of a national highway from Reykjavik to the northeast. The project suffered repeated unusual technical difficulties because it was claimed the elves did not want the large boulder that served as their home to be moved to make way for the new road. But yeah, a lot of people claim that they've seen them, or that they've been given advice. There are fishermen who won't go out if they feel like they've been advised by the hidden people not to.
Okay.
There you go. Chaos caused by the elves.
Very interesting.
It is interesting, especially considering that the vast majority of interviewed Icelanders say that they're Christian.
And yet they believe in the elves.
Yeah.
Apparently the two are not mutually exclusive.
As Shakespeare said,
are the elves
there are more
Christian?
things in heaven and earth than are dreamt of in your philosophy.
Yeah, very nice. However, the elves might be Christians, though, right? I mean,
they might be. Who knows? Maybe the elves practice the old Norse religions, which is where the people all come from.
That doesn't jibe with.
They like Odin.
That's not going to work for me.
Okay.
That's
you like a good Christian elf.
you know what? Those elves, they should be kicking out their houses. The problem here is that they have caved to the wishes of the elves, and the elves now they recognize that they've got some power.
Right.
And these elves are out of control. They need to just get rid of all those fucking rocks.
Just kick them out.
Just kick them out.
You're the Donald Trump of Iceland.
Absolutely. Get those rocks. Just roll them down the precipice into the ocean.
Just get them out.
Just get them out. Psh. And then build a wall.
Build a wall out of the rocks.
Yeah. That's the ultimate fuck you.
And make the elves pay for it.
Oh, poor elves. All right. Dan.
Yeah.
There has been an attempt in Georgia to build a mosque.
Okay.
North or southeast, rather, of Atlanta, about 40 miles southeast.
Okay.
In the rural Newton County.
Oh, Newton.
In a little town called Doraville. The town decided that in light of this horrible prospect of a mosque being built,
Yeah.
with an accompanying cemetery,
Because no worse thing can happen to
no
your town
worse thing can happen
than a mosque.
They have placed a moratorium on all new religious edifices in their community. They were smart enough to know they couldn't single them out.
At least, you know,
And then,
at least they're thinking long term. Good job, everybody. Way to think into the future. There's no way we're going to need any more Christian churches, is there? No, we're all right. We're full.
We can remodel. We can add on to.
We're full up.
Yep. I don't think they intend the moratorium to be permanent. They do, however, want to buy themselves some time to figure out what the fuck are we gonna do.
Oh my god.
Apparently, they voted, or they're going to vote on the 13th, September 13th. And it is suspected that a majority of the county commissioners will vote to lift the ban.
Okay.
Because this is Commissioner Nancy Schultz saying that, Newton County is rich in diversity and hospitality.
Yeah, I'm sure that's true.
We are happy to see residents of all faiths and backgrounds live and worship together in our community.
That sounds like
golly gee.
That sounds like they went to to the National Republican Committee and were like, "Can you craft a statement for us? Because we can't say it. We can't bring ourselves to do it."
Now, apparently, though, the religious leader of the Doraville Mosque, who has the most Muslim name in the world.
Is it? Wait, should I guess what it is?
If you want.
It's Muhammad Abdul O'Malley.
Muhammad Islam.
Muhammad Islam.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's pretty Muslim.
That's pretty Muslim.
There's no question there.
Right.
That's scary.
Yeah.
That was the problem. They didn't just send any old imam. They
Right.
sent Muhammad Islam.
His middle name's
Islam.
got to be Hussein. Just to cap it off.
That would be the scariest name
Right.
in the West.
Yeah.
Muhammad Hussein Islam.
Yeah.
So he says that we believe that building bridges with our neighbors is far more important than immediately building a new house of worship and cemetery.
Now they want to build a bridge? Jesus, these people, they always want to build.
Yeah.
I just, you and I, when we went on our road trip through the South, we visited the mosque that caused so much trouble years ago in Tennessee.
Yeah.
No, not Tennessee.
Yeah.
Was it Tennessee?
Yeah, in starts with an M. Tennessee.
In M, Tennessee.
Mustarda.
McMurdo. Muffin Top.
Muffaletta.
It was
Tennessee.
Anyway, and that one was That was interesting just because it caused controversy because it was right next to a church, to a Baptist church.
How insensitive of these Muslims to come marching in to our communities,
right,
and building, on property that's been zoned
for churches.
Or religious edifices. How fucking dare they?
How dare they? So that church, what was really funny is that on the approach to the area, that church has 20 giant crosses out on the far outside of their property, just lining the area so that every time a Muslim goes to mosque, they have to pass cross.
Well, didn't they offer an Arabic language Christian service as well?
Yeah, I think
there
they
was a
did.
sign for
right,
that.
Right.
Hey, why don't you come on over here? We got.
Oh my God.
We got it in your own language, everyone. Look at us.
Because look at how we reach out.
Yeah. One county commissioner, this is the last little tidbit here, he told the Rockdale Citizen newspaper that he wondered whether the project would make Newton County, quote, a prime area for the federal government to resettle refugees from the Middle East. Rural Georgia. That's prime target.
That's where I want them to go. I mean, not for their sake, because those poor refugees, but it made me laugh.
Believe me, they're going to let you know before your community is just declared a refugee resettlement city. There's only 10 of them. That I know of.
Please put them all in the South. Just to fuck with
they're
everybody.
all over the country. That was
I want them in the South. I want to fuck with those people. That's all I want. Well, if you have any suggestions as to where Obama should put the refugees or anything else, you can let us know. That's a super helpful way to make things happen. By writing into us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yeah, go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist, and click the like button.
This is who is this, Dan? You sent me this link.
Yeah, who is it?
Who's this person yammering on?
I don't remember which one it was. Is it Alex Jones?
Yes.
It's the Alex Jones Show and a couple of other guys. They're all going to tell us all about a bloodline that is going on in society.
Donald Trump, in my opinion, is God's prosecuting attorney. He's laying out the evidence, and it's like everything evil is swarming upon him. I think that the fascinating thing about this is that, you probably heard this, but I gave a word that I really felt was an answer to prayer. And God said, before I allow America to be destroyed by the Russians and Chinese, okay, now this is hard to take, I'm going to reveal the sins of America's leaders to the people, and the people sins before a holy God.
Doesn't that biblically always happen? Before a country goes under judgment, they get warning after warning, and then one really big warning.
I believe the big warning's coming. I believe the ultimate warning is coming.
Let me Steve's taught me a lot about this. There's no aliens, there's demons. And Steve has a great explanation. He's taught me about this, where these demons come from. And we know that fallen angels rebelled against God, came to this earth, and we know that they had sex with human women. And we know that the offspring were these entities that Steve will talk about.
That's in the Bible.
Yeah, it's all biblical.
And that's why the elites try to intermarry, is to keep that bloodline, right?
Absolutely.
The idea is Satan knew that if he could contaminate the human DNA, he could prevent the coming of Jesus, because Jesus had to be of pure DNA. And a lot of the Bible, a lot of the really awful things that happened, entire cities
just wiping out the bad guys,
was to cleanse the DNA so that Satan could not prevent Jesus from coming.
Was to cleanse the DNA so Satan could not prevent Jesus from coming.
Yeah, you also need the mustache to make that accent come off exactly.
I should probably also. I think if you talk like this, it gives you
Mr. Gravel voice,
an air of authority.
Yeah. Well, that's
I just love
one of the dumbest things I've ever heard.
He just throws out that, the reason that the elites are intermarrying, the elites, whoever they are I'm guessing he's not talking about the Koch brothers? Those are elites. The elites, the reason the elites are intermarrying is to preserve that demonic bloodline.
Yeah.
God, you guys are idiots.
Yeah.
That's just, that's... I can quibble with a lot of things, but that's just dumb. These people are... That's just...
These guys believe, like, in the Illuminati and shit? Like...
Obviously. They believe everything, but not aliens. Don't worry. There's no aliens.
Aliens, it's demons.
Aliens aren't real. Demons.
Those are real.
Those are real. Let me tell you.
They came down and had sex with humans.
With women.
With women.
Because all demons are men.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There you go. Good stuff, everybody. All right. We had some folks write into us. I do.
Oh, did we now?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
The first one was interestingly left anonymous. Dear fellas, I'm going to paraphrase this a little bit. Thanks for your program. You often have me guffawing as I drive down the road. As a former fundie, that would be fundamentalist Christian, as a former fundie who has listened to some Tony Perkins, I was surprised to hear the report that he linked a past flood to God's alleged disfavor toward homosexuals. While I am aware that Tony Perkins has a very fundamentalist stance on the Bible, I have never heard him rant about anything as bizarre as associating a specific weather catastrophe to his deity's disfavor of gays. That sense of disbelief in me inspired me to research the question. I found no evidence of Perkins making any such specific statement as you alleged. In fact, I found a Perkins denial of the attribution. So he goes on talking about that. The bottom line is that Perkins believes God is providentially in control of all weather, and that he basically says it could be inferred because he does believe that God is in charge of weather, and he does believe that homosexuality is bad.
Yeah.
That he could believe that, but he's never made a statement that this guy could find. You and I, Frank, we don't do that much research. We do a lot of research, but we also sort of rely on journalists to do their bit of do their bit of due diligence. So we didn't do our due diligence on this one. I'm willing to say it's possible that we were very wrong.
Yeah.
And sorry.
Yeah. A fine line of family restaurants, though. Those Perkins.
Is that related? I don't know. I've never heard of Perkins Family Restaurant.
What? Along the highways?
They don't have them here
Byways?
that I am aware of.
Although
it sounds delicious.
Perkins Family Restaurant.
Anything
to Perkins.
Anything that has the words family restaurant attached to it, bound to be delicious.
And tucked away into a truck stop.
Right, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, that's why you probably haven't seen them around here, because where are the truck stops?
We don't have a lot of them.
No. Anyway, that's neither here nor there.
There you
go.
go.
Thank you for the correction.
Yeah. So do we have a voicemail, don't we?
We do. I'm going to play it now.
Let's listen to this person.
Hey, Frank and Dan. This is Steve. You recently talked about a town in China that outlawed religious practices in the hospital. Well, I'm an advanced practice RN at a major hospital chain. It's not a religious hospital chain, but on occasion, Bibles, I assume placed by they are placed by the Gideons. Book of Mormons, I assume, are from the Mormons. And even once I found a Quran, or at least it was like a Quran for dummies. Anyway, I'm an open atheist, and I discreetly pick these up, and I make sure that they get recycled. If I was less snarky, I would just ask the administration to remove them. But if I wanted to be snarky, I would submit a research proposal, something like I'd get 100 donated books of each faith, and then I would put those, one of each book, in 100 different hospital rooms, leave them there for 10 patients, and then collect them all, have them cultured, and then I could publish the results as to which one of those holy books is spreading the most disease in the hospital. Yeah, that would be kind of fun thing to look into. Anyway, hey, thanks, and keep up the good work.
Oh,
that is kind of brilliant. I kind of love it. I love yeah, science.
Yeah,
because here's the thing: what you don't want to do in a hospital is pick up something the last guy was using.
No,
that's
no.
When you're in a weakened state, the last thing you need is like whatever the last guy was touching.
Yeah, no,
that's a bad idea.
Bibles.
Yeah,
spreading disease.
I'm afraid
diseased Bibles.
Your love of God is not going to help you when you get, hantavirus from your Bible or whatever it is that's spread biblically or Quranically.
Ignorance.
Yes, that's one of the worst diseases that comes from those books. And we don't
strangely
even
communicable.
And we don't even have a culture for it. His test wouldn't even test for it.
Oh my gosh.
They test you with. They do a blood test, a urine test, and an IQ test.
Oh,
yeah. We had another email.
Do we?
Yes. James wrote into us. He's from Arizona. He says, "I'm a bit confused about your 9 Arizona humanist news item. This is something that you did.
Is
last
this another
week.
Kinda. All right.
Kinda. You claimed that they weren't getting help from the state Democratic Party, and it didn't want anything to do with them. I'm guessing you got your info from a religious news site, because I saw something similar there. To clarify some points, Woods ran as a Democrat in 2014. Weiser, who is mentioned in the article, is running as a Democrat in this cycle. Woods didn't, and Weiser Woods didn't, and Weiser has a very slim chance of winning, which might be why they didn't get a lot of support. However, Muniz, who is mentioned in the article, is already in office and is receiving a lot of support. And my representative is Crystal Sinema, spelled with an S. She is a well-known Democrat who openly identifies as a bisexual agnostic. Arizona does have some of the worst conservatives in elected office for several reasons due to internal politics, but there's a lot of us trying to change that. Thanks for the great show.
All right.
So thanks for that, James.
Yeah.
And apparently, Frank, we need to be a little more careful in just spouting whatever it is we spout. Or you guys can just correct us, and we'll just go on doing whatever it is we do.
Let's just do what we do, Dan. Crying out loud.
What we don't want to do is work too hard. Terrible. Did we have any
We have some new patrons.
Hooray.
Dan, on Patreon.
Great.
I'm going to thank the following people real quick, and then, So we have Kent, John, Maureen, Mike, Zachary, and Randall.
Hooray.
Are all new patrons on Patreon.
Amazing.
And we've been doing a little bit of work on the Patreon page and the campaign in general. Just want to rattle off real quick
some new things.
New things.
This is stuff that we think you guys are going to like.
Yeah.
It's stuff that we're excited about.
So, right now, we're at roughly $250 an episode.
Right.
Is what's been pledged.
Right.
We've set a goal at $300 an episode, at which point we will start doing a video version of the show, basically.
And this isn't just any old video of a podcast.
Yeah, it's gonna look really good, guys. And so that's the next thing that's coming up. We have other goals after that.
Yes.
that have been published. We'll get to those as those start to become relevant. And we've set up some nice rewards.
We've got some new rewards. One of them, the one that I'm excited about, if you pledge $3 or more per episode, Frank and I are going to record. There will be a weekly sort of audio diary thing.
Yeah.
That will be only available to those who are at that level.
For example, as to like what these might end up being, I recorded myself sort of walking through sort of my planning of the show, right?
Oh, so I was peek behind the curtain.
Yeah, I got online and I just kind of talked my way through picking out some stories that I thought might be really good for the show. So that's going to be going up this week. And then next week, it'll be Dan's turn, and he'll put something up.
Yeah.
So if you'd like to become a patron,
right,
just go to our website, thankgodimatheist.com. Look off onto the right side. There's a little Become a Patron or Support Us tab, and just click on that, and then there's some options.
Yep.
So thanks so much, guys.
Super helpful.
The help is amazing.
We definitely appreciate it.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Okay, Dan.
Oh, Frank.
Dan.
Early mornings. I want to talk about you.
Well, that's how I did it.
In high school.
Seminary.
Getting up at what hour?
I had to get up at 5:30 in the morning in high school because most of us were also in the band.
Oh.
So we had also early morning band practice.
Wow.
So we had band was first hour of school, and during the fall and winter he had us come in an hour early.
Jesus Christ.
We had a really good band. So we practiced for 2 hours a day. But needless to say, early morning seminary had to be before that.
Oh my God.
So yeah, it was at 5:30, I think.
Holy shit.
It was at like 6. I got up at 5:30.
Here's the thing. So Mormonism, this is not a required thing. This is not, you don't have to do this.
This doesn't get you into the celestial kingdom.
No. But every Mormon kid is pretty much expected to go to, when in their 9th through 12th grade years, their traditionally high school aged years, to go to seminary on a daily basis. It's dumb. It's just more church is really all it is.
Yeah, it's daily church. You get together. I mean, this is the way the early morning seminary worked. We would drive down to the Munson's house.
Okay.
Because my little town, Fort Gibson, had our own early morning seminary.
Right.
Because we had our own high school.
Sure.
And we weren't driving into Muskogee, right, to go to seminary, because that would have just added more time to it. So the kids in Muskogee went to Muskogee Seminary, and we went to Fort Gibson. And ours was at the Munson's house. And there were 5 of us, and we would sit around the Munson's dining room table, and Sister Munson would go through the seminary stuff, and it was awful. You know, I mean, we were all just exhausted and tired teenagers,
right? You
know, and but we'd say a prayer, and I seem to recall singing a hymn. Right? Isn't that a thing with seminary?
5 tired teenagers and 1 lady singing a hymn,
and then someone would have to share like a verse from the scriptures, depending on which one you're studying, because you know, each year you're studying something different. So like one year you'll study the Old Testament, then the New Testament. The following year, the Doctrine and Covenants. The year after that, and the Book of Mormon.
And the Mormons being the organized. I mean, you want to talk about organized religion. This is organized religion.
Yeah.
So they send out like lessons for for the whole thing.
Yeah.
They got a whole thing that they send out to all of everybody. So Sister Munson would have had.
She was not winging it.
No,
she had binders full of lesson plans.
Yep. That was handed down from on high here in Salt Lake City, Utah. Speaking of Utah,
the
experience is a little different for us.
Just a little.
So every high school in Utah, basically, I think every
public schools,
every public high school in Utah has sold off a little chunk of their property, or else has something right across the street, like. The Mormons have bought a bit of property right next to every high school for a building, which is the seminary building. And all the Mormon kids get they still had early morning seminary. You could still go to that. But you could also just take one of your class periods off and go to seminary as your class period, as your, fifth period class is seminary every day. And that's how that's how intertwined Mormonism is with Utah. This is public school, and you just walk across the grass to seminary, or across the street, depending on which high school you go to your seminary class, and it's just third period or whatever.
Yeah, there's some problems there.
Full-time teachers working in the seminary thing, that's their job. It's crazy.
It's so weird.
I wonder if Sister Munson got any money.
I doubt it. I think
probably not.
It was a calling.
They just try and if they can cheapskate you out of it by saying that Jesus wants you to, they will. I
think we wore her out.
I bet.
I remember her being a little like. I always thought that she was a fun. Now that I've named her on the show, I probably shouldn't speculate too much. But I always thought that she was a funny choice.
Yeah?
Yeah, because she always seemed very sort of... She just didn't seem like the kind of strident Mormon that you need to, like, be getting up every morning, and teaching seminary. Right. Like, she always seemed a little bit more casual about things. Like, they were good they were good Mormons. They went to church and everything. But, like she always just seemed a little like... I don't know.
Like if you went up to her and told her you were drinking, she would be like, yeah, everybody does it. It's okay. But just try not to do it again.
I mean, she was still really conservative, whether or not she was like, psycho Mormon or not. But she always just seemed a little like, just a little distant somehow. But anyway.
See, I would have loved that. That's a lot better than the alternative, which is some crazy hose beast.
It was better than, because we had a psycho before her.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I won't mention her name because she was psycho.
Yeah.
This older woman in the ward, her daughter was basically the same age as me.
Yeah.
And so she was in the class as well. And so we'd go over to their house when it was her teaching it. And she was militant.
Yikes.
Yeah. She was, oh, God. I could just share stories, but not on the show. Oh, my God.
The thing that brought this up for me, the reason that I wanted to talk about this was because I just read an article on a weird thing that happened just this last week where so the seminary curriculum that we were talking about that's sent out from on high changed. Mm-hmm. And then changed back, and then changed again.
About what?
There was a lesson about prophets and revelation.
Okay.
That was pretty standard. There's but contains some elements that people might question, like more liberal people might question.
Okay, what did it say?
Well, here's the thing. It tried to talk about the difference between revelation. Well, or it actually conflated God's law and sort of church policies and practices.
Okay.
Which he reveals through his prophets.
Oh, boy.
And so the idea... So, yeah, this idea
it's saying
of...
that church policy is straight from God, so fucking get in line.
Kind of, but here's the problem with that. Church policy changes.
All the time.
All the time. So then they had this sort of, like, this quiz, this pop quiz kind of thing where it was like... where it asks, for each item, identify whether it is an example of A, eternal laws, which do not change, or B, laws of priesthood administration and church management, which may change.
This had to get some people really confused.
So, like, it starts with things like, under the law of Moses, only men of the tribe of Levi were ordained to the Aaronic priesthood. Is that the same, or is that different now? For those who are accountable...
So they were saying that that's administrative law.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
And then, it says, another one was, for all who are accountable, baptism by immersion and confirmation are required to enter God's kingdom. Is that an eternal law or a law of administration? And then it mentions, like number 4 on the list, From the mid-1800s until 1978, men of black African descent were not ordained to the priesthood. Is that an example of an eternal law or a management law?
They are trying to... Whoa!
Yeah. So, like, they're basically... So they invoked one of the most controversial things that has ever happened in the LDS Church history. So then...
Wow. Well, what about polygamy?
That one...
is that on the list?
Is not
Or was
on
that
the
too
list.
hot for them? Because that's a tricky one.
Right.
If you want to start parsing it out this way, it doesn't parse out quite so easily.
No, sir, it does not. So
And they're going to have a heck of a time when gays get to marry in the temple.
Yeah.
Because that's coming.
It's coming. It'll be another 50 to 50 years or so. Maybe not that much.
50 to 50 years. That's you're giving yourself quite a...
It's between 50 years and 50 years. It's somewhere in that range. Plus or minus 50 years.
Oh, whoa. Wow, Dan.
Anyway, they also in this lesson plan recommended a role-playing scenario in which a seminary student would be asked to defend a prophetic revelation from a pesky leftist uncle at a family meal.
No.
Who says that examples like blacks receiving the priesthood or polygamy being abandoned demonstrate that the church has sometimes caved to social pressure.
Oh my God. That actually was in there?
Yeah.
Did it say pesky?
I don't know. Pesky may have been. No, it doesn't. That's not.
Say liberal?
There's
liberal
no
uncle?
leftist.
Just, it says leftist?
I don't know. I don't know what it says because that part was not in quotations. But there was an uncle asking about saying those things. And how do you? So role play how we get how we wiggle ourselves out of that one. So then
teaching them how to deal with like large Mormon family like dynamics.
Yeah, I guess so.
How do you stay close to the conservative teachings of the church?
Right. So apparently on one day, that's what the lesson is. The next day, it all changed. An altered version of the lesson was replaced from this one. And then the next day, it changed again. And then it was like, so the first change, like the mention of the blacks in the priesthood was gone. A big long quote from Russell M. Nelson talking about the LGBT policy was in there before, and then that was gone. You remember that controversial policy that was like, this is the Lord's word. We all sustained this. We all got a thing.
That's the problem. If they start going down this road too much and start teaching this as a concept, they start to really paint themselves into a corner when there are these like loose cannon apostles who are going to say, this is not an administrative rule. This is eternal.
Yeah.
And as soon as they say that, this whole concept gets blown out of the water.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was always taught that we hear God's law line upon line and precept upon precept, which was sort of their way of wiggling out of sometimes we get it fucking wrong. It was just so like I always heard that like the black priesthood thing was, the Lord had to wait until the society could accept it.
I heard that line. Yeah.
Because if they treated black people like humans too quickly, then everybody would be all mad about it, and they wouldn't have joined.
I also heard one. I don't remember exactly how it was phrased, but the gist of it was that, the God's mouthpiece is still a human being, right?
Yeah,
it is still a fallible human being,
right? And
that one of all of the explanations was the one that kind of just stuck and resonated with me.
Yeah,
I was trying to work through a lot of these weird inconsistencies and troubling, developments in the history of the church. And it's like, no, God's perfect, but we're not. Not even the prophet's perfect.
Right.
Yeah.
So, that was what differentiated us from the Catholics, because the Catholics always had these infallible popes. So that was kind of a point of pride for me, was like, we know that this is just a man.
Yeah.
but he does get revelation from God. So the question
sometimes, and the part of it was sometimes it's really explicit, and other times he's just having to interpret, feelings.
Yeah.
Which is the problem with feelings.
Feelings are tricky. Is this feeling from God, or is this feeling, the hot pepper sauce that I had last week? Or yesterday. That's coming
warm
back on me.
It's that nice warm feeling.
Yeah. Or that dark feeling in my soul. Oh no, that's just diarrhea. Never mind. That wasn't God. That wasn't the Lord telling me something was wrong.
This gurgling.
Ooh, I've got
pressure that's building.
I've got a dark feeling in the pit of my stomach. Oh, nope, that's just poop. That's poop.
But sometimes it's hard to distinguish. It's a
fine line.
The Lord works through mysterious ways.
Yeah.
And, your intestine is getting a little disruptive.
Maybe that's the Lord giving you diarrhea.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Oh.
You have to guess.
Yeah.
So anyway, there you go. It's a tricky thing. But the main thing I wanted to point out is that we had to fucking go to church at school.
Every day. Well, you went to school. I went to the Munsons.
And I didn't go all the time. I kind of picked and chose when I went. I don't even know why I went, because I didn't have to. My parents didn't care.
Really?
Yeah. And I skipped it fully half the time, even when I was enrolled. But there were several semesters. But then, on the flip side of this, so there were several semesters where I chose not to go. Then there were semesters where, for no reason, I chose to go to early morning.
That's weird.
Why the fuck would I do that? I hate waking up. I hated mornings. But I just did it.
Well, it gives you an extra period to actually do something for real at school.
Yeah, get real school. But I skipped school too. I didn't do school either. I dropped out of school my senior year. I didn't connect to high school at all. It was not my jam.
No.
So anyway, there you go. If you thought that your upbringing, that your church was bad, just ask yourself: did you have to do it every day? Did you have to get up at 5:30 in the morning to go every day before school?
Devout Catholics do mass every day.
Devout ones,
really devout,
like the mega devout ones. Most Catholics don't even do mass every Sunday.
And they suck at math too.
They suck at math. Catholics don't do math. That's the main takeaway.
We think with all that math that they would be good at it.
Yeah.
Oh God, there you go. Terrible. That's the best.
Hey, if you want to tell us how your upbringing was worse than ours, please feel free to. You can write to us at podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Go to the Facebook page, too. That's a great place to go. You can see what Mackenzie's doing. That's facebook.com/TGIAtheist.
Hit us up on Patreon. Go to our website, thankgodimatheist.com. Look for the support tab.
And if you support us enough, you get to hear our thing.
More stuff for you.
Stuff for you.
All right.
Hey, thanks to Mackenzie for doing all of that fine work on the Facebook page.
And thanks to the Red Rock Hot Club for the use of their music,
which I love. And thank you, dear listener, for tuning in. We sure do appreciate it.
Bye.